She belongs to the species touring artists. What started at age 13 with the guitar ended up in more than 100 concerts a year, including shows with Chaka Khan, Diana Krall and songwriting with Sean Penn. As you can guess, I'm talking today with Melanie Decker, the Canadian singer-songwriter. My name is Anne-Kathrin and you are watching Audiophile TV. Enjoy.
Audiophile.
I'd like to be yours. I'd like you to say she's mine, all mine, par for the course. I've fallen in love this time, this time. I'd love to dance all over the world with you. I do. I dream of the chance that I'll be the one you choose. I'm a distant star praying for your heart. For now I watch you from afar. It's not so bad, no, no, not at all. But at the end of the day, another day has faded away.
Hello Melanie.
Hi.
If I would offer you my sofa, would you enjoy it?
That's an interesting question. Sure I would.
Because at the beginning of your career, you often slept on the sofa of friends or of fans even, right?
I think yes. If I could sing somewhere, I would be willing to also sleep there.
So, what would you say for your career? What helped you or what did support you most?
Supported me most would have been knowing that I had my parents' support. Just knowing that, just keep doing it, Mel. There was a real, my parents are my biggest fans. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the realistic feedback from them. When they didn't like something, they would tell me. They weren't like, go do it, you're wonderful, this is great. They'd be like, are you sure you want to take this on as a career? And they helped me check in on my own doubts and then lift me back up. So I think that was the most helpful thing. The thing that probably took me from sleeping on a couch and singing in living rooms and restaurants to bigger stages, that was probably getting my song on the radio. In 2003, I had a hit in Canada. And this was definitely a lift. Yeah.
So your parents are not like nowadays parents who tell their children, oh, you're so great, you can do everything, you are perfect.
No, and I have a recent example of that. When I was about 25 years old, I was playing a lot of field hockey all throughout my childhood as well. And
is it popular in Canada?
Not so much, but I liked it. I liked the toughness of the sport.
Okay.
And my dad played. And I broke my nose. And then, of course, you have an offer to have your nose fixed when you do this. And I was too afraid to do it at the time. And then about 5 years ago, a doctor said to me, a plastic surgeon said, you know, I can fix your nose for you if you like. Now we're all going to be looking at my nose. And I said, oh, no, that's okay. It's fine. It's fine the way it is. And I called my mom and I said, you won't believe it. A plastic surgeon offered to fix my nose. And she said to me, oh, it's about time you fixed your nose. and you know what? She could have said, oh, I love you just the way you are. I'm glad you didn't do that. And I thought, Yeah, there's just a realistic feedback from my parents.
Okay.
Didn't touch the nose. It's still my decision, but that's what they're like. And I don't know if parents nowadays are pushing their children in places that children wouldn't naturally go. I think my parents feared a little bit that I let go of university. Instead I went to music university. And there was definitely, are you sure about that? Do you want backup? Do you want, what about the backup plan? And
so it's that they are have the fear that you are missing some other opportunity, maybe?
I think the fear was that I would get into music and not be good enough to make a career of it. I think there's that, well, she's good at school and I'm good at math, and she used to want to be a doctor, and
she could be a lawyer.
Yeah, and actually that was one of my passions. It's funny you pick up on that. And I just wanted to try, and I thought, worst thing is that, okay, I end up in school twice as long as maybe I should have, and it worked. So here we are.
But you have been at music high school studying jazz music. Why didn't you end up as a jazz musician?
We had two options in the university that I applied for, and one was a classical music degree, and the other one was a jazz music diploma. So there wasn't really a popular music choice. I didn't take music as a young child. I didn't learn piano until I was 18. So going into the classical side of that music program, it just wasn't an option for me. I didn't audition for that. And jazz was kind of the other option. It included history, it included psychology, it included things that fascinated me already anyway. Why didn't I come out of there as a jazz musician? I was influenced by country music as a child, and I still love jazz. I love jazz concerts. I love jazz clubs, and because I play a unique style of music, I'm invited to play in jazz clubs today, even though I'm not making jazz music. So yeah, it just wasn't my background, and not necessarily my passion.
So you mentioned you would have been influenced by country music. Which artists did you listen to?
Well, it wasn't the artists I listened to, it was the artists my parents listened to. So they listened to lots of Waylon Jennings, Patsy Cline.
So you have been forced to listen to this sort of music.
Oh, absolutely. You sit in the car and your parents close the window and you drive to your holiday place and they play their music.
Okay, but it's better. My parents only listen to classical music all the time. So
I don't know if country's better.
Yeah, it's a little bit more speed and a little bit more energy, I think. You can groove, but with classical Baroque music, it is really hard.
Maybe they were trying to put you to sleep.
No, it started in the morning at 6:30 at the breakfast table with Bach, and so it ended in the evening with Mozart.
Yeah, well, I picked up an acoustic guitar because of country, and maybe you have a violin,
yes.
Love for the violin because of this.
Yes, but I think if you don't have the choice yourself, it is hard.
Yeah. Yep. So later on, I listened to what people in high school listened to, and influences far and wide. And of course, it always includes Beatles and Rolling Stones as long as they've been around. And going to a jazz university was a sudden barrage of tons of music from Miles Davis, onward. So, yeah.
And is the music scene or the musical taste in Canada different from US or from Europe?
Because Canada is a young country, our influences come from Europe. So, yes, I would say today there is a Canadian music sound, but I'm not sure if you can find that in between Michael Bublé and Diana Krall and Bryan Adams, or if you can find that in something that's more roots, like Sarah McLachlan or Melanie Decker. I think the sound of Canadian music is more folk-based in general. And I say folk music, not with trumpets and squeeze boxes, acoustic guitar, singer-songwriter. America, big gospel influence, big jazz influence.
A lot of hip-hop and stuff
absolutely.
like this.
They have edgier cities, edgier towns. people grow up in such a variety of cities, so you're going to breed different kind of music. Basketball is huge in U.S. That goes with a certain kind of music. And I don't know, Europe can be clumped into one big giant, well, it's almost one area, but it isn't the same. I go to play in Estonia and it's different from playing in Germany. The influences are different.
But for Americans, Germany and Europe is all the same, I think.
Not for me. Maybe
No,
because I'm traveling
Americans,
so
not
much.
the Canadians.
Oh,
yeah.
If you say North American, that includes me too.
Okay. But do you think that also the land or the country and the landscape does influence the Canadian music and especially your music?
Yes. But I'm on the west coast of Canada, so I can really only speak for that.
So no mountains, snow and all this stuff?
No, we have all that.
Really beaches?
No, the west coast we are on the edge of the ocean and the Rockies. So, sure, I think in general, people that live on the West Coast, maybe also in the U.S. and Washington and Oregon, you have a bigger drive to be part of nature. It's constantly there. It's at your doorstep. So music might have a little more ease to it. You know, yoga is popular, health is popular, skiing, sailing, you know, that goes with a different feeling than going to a basketball game, for example.
Do you also take life so easy?
I hope that life's easy, so I start with that idea. And if life is difficult, well, then it's not the end of life, so just trek on. And my life hasn't been easy and it hasn't been difficult. It's just, I like to say it's been interesting. And if your life isn't interesting, you can definitely find a way to make it so.
Because you're writing about Afghanistan or soldiers and things that are not that easy.
Yeah. I chose the Afghanistan wounded soldier topic because it was asked of me at a charity concert. And then I became absolutely 100% involved in my heart and soul, my being, my time. And that ended up going to Afghanistan to perform. And I never felt in my heart that there was an option to say, no, I don't want to do that. I think very few people would say, no, I don't want to help somebody. Like, that's how it's proposed in a way. Well, sure, I went to make 5,000 people have a better Christmas. And I'm happy I'm home. And I'm happy I got home, and if something happened to me, and okay, then it's the end. But that's the best Christmas I've ever had. If we're talking about going to Afghanistan for Christmas, it's the absolute best. In general, the topics of my songs are more, they're not therapeutic, but I feel that I get my songs out of conversation. So if we sit down on or off camera and I think, wow, that really moved me what she said, I like to find a way to wrap a 3-4 minute song around that.
You also studied music therapy, right?
Yeah.
So do you think music can help people, or in which regards can music help people?
I think music is therapy to begin with, regardless of what genre you listen to. It started off with the fascination of being able to memorize lyrics once a song was attached to it. So, I can memorize 10 songs, I can memorize 100, I can memorize 200 songs. Why is that? But if you asked me to just speak the text to you, I would have to connect my brain somehow in a different way. And so with this own self-fascination with, I'm learning all these songs. And once you start learning 10 songs, after the first 10 songs, it gets easier. And you think, well, after a while, you would just get full. But no, it gets easier. The more songs I knew, the more songs I could learn.
But maybe because you're a singer-songwriter, because I don't pay attention to the lyrics that much.
See, and yeah, lyrics drive me. And so then, as far as music therapy goes, there's different approaches, but I worked with stroke therapy patients in groups, and not one-on-one. I wanted to create a reconnection because It's not like the therapy where you lay down and listen to music, put something on your ears and say, oh, I feel nice, because you can do this at home. But in a group, it's a different approach in that if I say this and I go like this, can you do that back to me? Right? Squeeze my hand 2 times. Yes. But if you have one hand that doesn't work, how do we handle that? And so I used rhythm and melody, and it's a form of speech therapy as well. But yeah, it's working together in groups. I love it. And of course, I perform for groups, so being there is natural.
But are you still working in this field?
No, not at the moment. And I may go back to it. It's not that I can't do both at once. It's just that I'm just performing all the time at the moment. It's my own therapy, I guess.
And it is also music therapy if I attend one of your concerts, right?
Well, if you like the music, yes.
If I wouldn't like the music, I think I wouldn't attend the show. So,
Yeah.
sure, I like your music. So, is it a sort of therapy?
No, not in the same sense. It's feel-good music. We have fun. We're quite spontaneous. I'm playing about 80% of the same songs nightly. So there's the 20% that keeps both myself and my musicians on our toes. And the approach is always viel Spaß. Let's have a great time. Let's have a great time. All my music isn't so upbeat, but I like to present it in a way that's like, hey, let's look at this topic together for 4 minutes.
And in which formation do you play, or which formation do you prefer? You are solo, you have a solo program, and also with 2 or 3 or 4 musicians.
Yep. My preference depends on the type of venue sometimes and the length of the tour. So typically I'll perform 5 to 10 concerts solo, and then I need the support. My voice doesn't need the support, the guitar doesn't need the support, the music doesn't necessarily need the support. But moving from A to B and having some sort of camaraderie, that charges me. That charges me.
Are you completely traveling on your own when you're doing a solo program?
No, there's always someone with me. Well, not always, but yeah, 9 times out of 10. Either someone's driving or someone's selling CDs. And
otherwise it would be hard.
yeah, it would be a different feeling. It would feel a little more like you're backpacking across the country with your guitar, and what I'm doing is serious enough that I have to take care. In 2010, I was with a violinist and a keyboardist.
Next time I will be with you on the tour.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end the interview right now. We have rehearsals to go through. And the 2 of them, they were a couple. And at first I thought, oh no, like what if something goes wrong?
Yeah,
right?
oh no.
So you know what? I had to change my contract a little bit and say, I need you guys to think about what would happen if something goes bad between you. And
they had to sign, we won't split.
No, I basically said, what would happen if you split? Who would stay and who would go? I need you to talk about that. And they giggled and laughed about it at the time, and then they respected that I asked. And I said, just puts me at ease, and of course, and you know what? I've never traveled with 2 more wonderful people. They were so in love the whole time. So, and one time I asked them in the van, I said, okay, so do you guys ever argue just a little bit? Because it's quite a, every day you're together.
Yeah.
And they said, oh yeah, but behind closed doors.
Okay.
So they found a way to get out what they need to get out. So typically I travel with at least 2 other musicians. And I haven't traveled with a drummer for a long time, but I will be again this coming the later part of this tour. I love the formation without drums because I feel that my songs come across better. And I'm playing concerts with 150 people, and I feel like the impact of what I want to say in the text. If you're hearing my songs for the first time, it's going to go by so quickly. How can I grab you? I think I do that best so far without a strong rhythm section.
So it would be another type of music you have to compose if you would have a drum or drummer with you?
No, it would be the same kind of music. It would just need to be, I don't like typical drums. I like creative approaches. So even if you had spoons, kabasa, these sort of things, and yet my music isn't good for congas or something like this. So it's just traveling with a very melodic drummer. And now your tour bus gets bigger, now your sound checks get longer. And it's by no means a complaint. It's quite a big decision to bring percussion, drums, and a bass player. It's a different type of commitment.
I had the impression that your music isn't rhythm based.
No, it's not. No. And that's funny because what I feel most when I play my guitar is rhythm.
Really?
That's what's ticking in my head. Oh yeah.
Timing is important.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What would you say if someone calls your music hippie music?
I would love it. I love it. I have a song called Hippie, and hippie music, I guess my question to them would be, define hippie music. Because I'd be curious to know how they came to this conclusion. And I smile with that approach. Who wouldn't? You know, I think it's great. And I think it is a little bit hippie driven.
You are a hippie?
I'm not sure that I'm a hippie in the modern sense. I like to buy new shoes, I wear leather, I drink milk, I lean vegetarian, so in that I usually just don't eat meat at all. But my parents were, married in the 60s, and yeah, I remember some of the 70s, so yeah, there's a hippie influence. And I think that's positive.
And they are from the Netherlands, so in the Netherlands you have your buses and
your marijuana.
Mobile homes.
Yeah. I know the Dutch are known for their mobile homes over here, but that's not something that I know anything about.
And you mentioned your voice, that you have to take care of your voice. It has been damaged once, right?
Absolutely. And I hope that in the near future, I can do a couple seminars and speak to students.
So you don't have any vocal lessons at the moment?
I don't take vocal lessons at the moment. That doesn't mean you can't keep taking vocal lessons once you're performing a lot. I had voice damage from singing 6 nights a week, 5 hours a night. I still can't believe I could do that.
And you have been cover songs, right? So
songs.
now with your own songs, everything is better.
It is better because you choose keys that make sense and you choose styles that make sense.
And the range you can choose.
And I was singing even when I was sick, and that's how the voice damage happened. It was too much, wrong environment, difficult music, for everybody's voice is different. And I did this for 4 years.
You've been in clubs?
Yeah, in clubs, in kind of a big rock and country clubs. So we call them A clubs in Canada. And that means you have sound and you have lights and you have 200, 250 people.
Is smoking allowed in Canada?
Not anymore, but it was when my voice was damaged. Yeah, it doesn't help when the smoke rises and we look at it like it's just this big cloud.
Wow.
I'm a non-smoker, but I know people, you have a smoky voice. I think, I think that was secondhand smoke. I didn't enjoy the smoke.
Secondhand smoke is perfect.
Yeah.
I like the word. But do you think that your career could have been different if you would have chosen another way of singing or another genre?
The genre that I sing comes so naturally. And I had singing lessons from an opera teacher, a Russian opera teacher, and yeah, I'm going to jazz school and still I end up singing similar to the roots music that my parents listened to. Yeah, I think if I chose R&B when I was 20 or 15, and a lot of things would have to be different in order for me to say that I could have actually had a choice in the type of music that I sang.
So it's in your genes.
It's somehow all these things. I had my chance. Maybe jazz, or maybe hip hop. There's only a little bit of hip hop right later on, and I listened to Madonna, loved what she was doing, but my voice and my style and maybe my hippie style just was like, no, that's not my way. Yeah.
And what are your wishes for the future? Would you love to have a #1 global hit or something like this?
Yes, and I'd be crazy to say I wouldn't want that. The thrill of making a hit song, and I've had some experience with this, is that you've made something from scratch. You've actually something that's completely silent, time, space, and to complete a song, and then have people know that song and enjoy that song for whatever reason, because it makes them sad, or because it makes them jump up and down, because it makes them reminiscent of a loved one. It's such a thrill. I don't know, I'm not much of a baker, but I think if you made a dessert that nobody had ever had in the world, and everybody said, "Oh, this is the best, I love it. Find me another Berliner donut, it's the best," or whatever, then you've hit something, and a hit for a songwriter means I've hit it on the nose. Literally, back to the nose. Anyway, you nailed it, we say, because it means you've moved people in some way that they all like it. And that being said, enough PR dollars and things can put songs that are great kind of in the shadows, and songs that aren't so great also, and lift them up into top 10. But good songs find their way.
Sure. So I think from the album, Distant Star would have the potential to be a #1 hit.
I like that. I like that because that's one of my, that's my most heartfelt piece, I would say, on that album.
Okay.
And it is that because I took an enormous amount of time to write it and make it exactly the way that I wanted it. And yet there's very few words in it.
And it's my favorite song.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Melanie.
Thanks, too.
Ow. Die.
And Black Swan is also
Feel.
That's nice and romantic.
very touching.
You're picking the
Yes.
romantic.